Hi, how are you? Christmas is almost here. Do you feel Christmas anxiety? Do you feel that this is the worst time of the year for you? Well, you are not the only one. Christmas is not what they think that we should believe. Christmas is not fun for everybody. There is, of course, this rise of domestic violence. 66% more calls come to emergency centers, according to statistics about domestic violence. And these helplines, I think that it was helplines that get 66% more calls, and emergency centers get 20% more calls related to domestic violence. And that is quite much. So if you feel that Christmas is not fun for you, you are not the only one. 1 in 10 couples or spouses are afraid that their marriage will end during Christmas, or end or start to end, or have its final straw. But what do people do that these things happen in Christmas? Well, that's quite obvious. People drink too much alcohol. They do it in a row a couple of days, which is never a good idea. Maybe there is a weekend in the same bunch of days, so it's not just 2 or 3 days, but 5. And that's quite much. And they have these expectations what Christmas should be. And when they are let down, they are furious. They spend too much time with the family unit or with the relatives that they do not actually get along so well. Or they get along 1 day or 2 days, or not even that, but one night, so 1 hour or 2 hours, and suddenly they are together for days. So it gets to their nerves. Those who use medications, like not to the original meaning, they get furious. They become unpredictable. Those of us who has mental problems or anxieties from childhood may also act out. But for me, I feel Christmas anxiety that is about worst right now until Christmas Eve is over. In here we celebrate in Christmas Eve and then the following days, but the Christmas Eve is like a start, and that causes most anxiety for me. But when that is over, then I relax, or that has happened in previous Christmases, and I surely hope it will happen this day also. If there is something that we should think about is they are just ordinary days. 24th, 25th, 26th of December. How are they different from the ones in November or January? Not much. So it's just in our heads. We don't have to have Christmas. We don't have to watch TV and these unrealistic shows about families coming together and having fun and loving each other. If we don't have that kind of family, it feels unfair, unrealistic. If there is bad memories from childhood, from every Christmas, it's very difficult to somehow get you to the Christmas spirit. But to the original idea, 24th, 25th and 26th, they are no different than in any other month. So it's your choice. You can skip the whole thing. Don't just think of them as extra holidays, or go to work if you can, and skip even the holidays. You don't have to. You don't have to put on decoration. You don't have to wish everybody Merry Christmas. You don't have to sing carols. You don't have to eat the traditional food or Christmas foods. You don't have to eat chocolates. You don't have to do any of that. That's all voluntarily. Of course, if you have a family around you and if you have children, let them have their Christmas and try to be as neutral as you can. Of course, if I feel bad, I don't want to ruin the Christmas for my children because they really wait for it. They don't have similar memories than I do. Although I think that they know that I have this Christmas anxiety and it's not going away. But Christmas is not fun for everybody. And if you live in this kind of family that there is constant threat about violence, about fights, about arguing, about name calling, about anything, then it might be wise to try to lower the expectations of the Christmas. When I was small, my mother tried to make Christmas and it was very strange because she acted very strangely. She didn't act like that any other time of the year. And it was very strange. Children don't like adults behaving another way that they usually do. It's not natural. It's not reliable. It's not what children expect. And my father, I think that he lost his nerve because of my mother. And every Christmas, he got mad. He was in a good mood for a while, and then he got mad, and then he shouted. And that wasn't like the usual thing for us too. So it was very scary. And I wasn't very old when I started to wait for that. So when Christmas came, I saw my mother acting very strangely. And then I started to wait, when do my father, or when does he get the fit and shout. And then everybody is quiet and just tiptoeing around like mice so they wouldn't be noticed. And that's of course just one thing, but that's something that I don't want to wait now. But I think that my head is not over it, so I still somehow try to be something that I am not, and somehow are afraid that something is going to happen, that some authoritarian power is going to be mad at me or mad at the situation. And that causes my Christmas anxiety at one point. But if I think about it now, like adult, just why didn't my mom just try to be like she is usually, this not fussy, not singing, very cold. So everything would have been just like any other day. Maybe we would have eating this kind of dinner, but nothing else. That would have been easier for me as a child. And of course there is the fact that can we help those who suffer during Christmas? Of course there are many people that cannot afford to have Christmas present or Christmas dinner, and there are many ways to help them. There are different charity organizations that give them presents. You can send for example, a bunch of children's clothes. It doesn't matter if they are used, if they are clean and still wearable. And they will be given to the families that have that age of children that need those clothes. And that can be your Christmas present for them. Of course, you can give money if you have extra money, but many of us don't. And many of us don't want to give money away, or I don't. I'm stingy, so I'm very meticulous in that kind of things. But I can give what I don't need anymore and what's still very good and usable. So that's one thing that we can do for those that are less fortunate than us. And we can just pay attention. And we should pay attention. Everybody should pay attention. If you are walking around on Christmas days and you see children alone. Where are their parents? Ask. Mind. If it's needed, call helplines for them. I don't know, somehow this kind of a celebrations has quite a big shadow, or quite a long shadow with them, if we think about it. It should be some kind of a celebration of joy, celebration of year ending and new beginning, celebration that sun will come up eventually again. So days will be longer from this day forward. And somehow it's turned into some kind of a like overly consumerism thing. People eat too much. That is unhealthy. Some even die in Christmas for eating too much. For example, have a heart attack because of too much greasy foods. And that's true, actually. It sounds like unimaginable, but it happens. If you eat too much and too unhealthy, you can develop, if you have a tendency already, you can develop a heart attack in a very short period of time. And that happens. And some even choke to the food, which sounds really awful. Not awful in a way that somebody dies, but awful in a way that somebody eats that kind, or that way that they choke to the food that they eat. How much food do you have to put in your mouth that adult chokes? Of course, there are many kind of accidents, and I don't mean to say that it's their own fault or anything like that, but it just seems so on contrary of what Christmas should be, or what I imagine it should be. It should be celebration of letting go of the darkness, and it should be celebration of birth of Christ, celebration of joy. And what kind of relationships do families have if Christmas and its few days off, few days of holiday, lead to divorce? So don't people think about these things in another time? I know that many marriages end after summer holidays, because there is a similar kind of holiday period that people are on holiday with their children. And when they get back from the holiday, they file for divorce. But now we are talking about Christmas. So Christmas has become something that it originally was not. So if we can enjoy just the holiday, just something a little bit extra, and let go of all the pressure and all the burden of what Christmas should be, I think that we all feel better. I think that I feel better, or I hope when this anxiety lets go of me, if I just think that it's few days of holiday and all the kids are coming and going, so there is people in the house more than usually all the time. So I try to cherish that. And I hope that people would. And they would lower their expectations. Talk about it as a family. Of course, I understand that children wait for presents and that kind of things. But try to lower the standards, so 1 or 2 presents per children and nothing lavish. So even they understand that. Of course, small children think that Father Christmas brings all the presents and parents don't pay them, but all the children know their parents will pay them, and the money is the same money that it is around the year, so there is not extra money when it's Christmas. Kids understand if you explain to them. But I hope that you have a Merry Christmas time, or merry few days of holiday. If you don't celebrate Christmas, if you just skip them. But it's better to skip them than feel bad. And to realize that we don't have to. We don't have to be merry at Christmas. We don't have to have the whole Christmas. We don't have to eat Christmas dinner. We don't have to get presents, and we don't have to receive presents. We can let the whole charade go and just be who we are and think of them as ordinary days. Nothing special. It's only 3 days. Then it's gone for a year. Why should we torment ourselves? First of all, for weeks, for those 3 days. Think about what you have done in 3 days. If you watch Netflix one whole day and you go to exercise and long walk in another day, and for the third day you may clean the house. So 3 days gone and you didn't even notice. And that's one thing. If you have anxiety, if you really feel bad, do something totally different. If I start to clean the house, it's more improbable that I don't remember anything else. I just clean the house. And it takes a day easily if you do it properly. But that was just one thing. I try to wait until my Christmas anxiety gets easier and not to ruin the Christmas for my children, and be happy about the things that I have, and be happy about the situation that I am in now, and wish well for everyone. I hope you have a great day. I see you soon. Goodbye.